Hello and welcome to Cupcake Addiction's giant Minnie Mouse inspired cupcake tutorial, where today I'm going to be showing you how to make this absolutely stunning giant cupcake that's totally inspired by Minnie Mouse. I've had so many requests for something Mickey and or Minnie on my channel, and even though I've got some cupcakes and some cake pops, you guys want more, so here is the giant Minnie Mouse cupcake. If you're looking for something you can do with the kids, make sure you check out this super simple Minnie Mouse pop made by my niece Charlie over on the Charlie's Crafty Kitchen channel. I'll link to that one in the description box below. The things that you need for today's tutorial. You want a fondant bow, so I just released this video just on Friday. I will link to that in the description box, but you do want to make this about 12 hours in advance, so it's got plenty of time to set, so it's going to hold its own shape. I've also got a fondant roller and some water, a little bit of melted dark chocolate, and some of our chocolate ganache. I'll also link to our ganache recipe in the description box below. Otherwise, you can use your favourite frosting. I've got some fondant in white and black. Now, whenever I use black fondant, I always use pre-coloured store-bought fondant rather than trying to colour my own. It's a lot deeper black, it's a lot easier to work with, and it's a lot less messy. I've got a Minnie Mouse figurine. It's a little bit optional, but it is going to add a little bit more to your cupcake today. I've got a pizza cutter. I've got my giant cupcake baked and ready to go. So if you haven't followed us through our giant cupcake basics series, I will leave that in the description box below. But that's going to show you how to get your giant chocolate cupcake case and how to get your giant cupcake baked, crumb coated, stacked, and ready to decorate. I've got a knife, a serrated knife, a paintbrush, a 3.5 inch or 9 centimetre circular cookie cutter, that's going to be to make our Minnie Mouse ear shape, a small piping tip, that's just to make our little circular polka dots, so you can also use a small circle cutter. I've got some corn flour and a shaker. I've got 2 of these preset Minnie Mouse ears cut out with that 3.5 inch cutter. Once again, like the bow, you want to do these about 12 to 24 hours in advance so they've got enough time to set, so they're going to support themselves in your cake. I've also got a 10-inch cake board, and I've got mine on a cake decorating turntable to make it a bit easier to show you guys what I'm doing. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is you want to take some of that ganache. Now you'll notice the different colourings in my ganache. That really dark stuff underneath is the fresh ganache when it's still really runny that I've used to crumb coat my giant cupcake. And then I've taken an electric mixer, waited for it to completely cool, and whipped it for about 2 minutes. So it kind of goes this really nice light brown colour, and it becomes a lot fluffier and a lot easier to work with. You want to take the back of your knife and you just want to give your cupcake a really nice coating of that ganache. Take a little bit more of that ganache, scrape it onto your cake board. This is going to make like a chocolate glue. And then you want to lift up your whole cupcake and stick it straight on top. Now at this point, I don't want mine bang in the center because I know I want my little toy on the side, so you can move it around a little bit before that ganache starts to set, and make sure you've got enough room for your Minnie Mouse if you've decided to use one today. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, you want to just take your serrated edge knife and you want to cut off the pointy top of your giant cupcake. This is going to give us more of like the domed head of Minnie Mouse. Take your ganache again and just give it a little bit of a coat over that freshly cut section. And once again, I'm just making sure that I've got ganache all the way down to the edges, and then I'm going to use the back of my knife to just really smooth it off as best as I can, so I've got a really nice smooth ganache surface. To make your Minnie Mouse ears, you want to sprinkle down a little bit of that corn flour, but make sure here, especially when you're working with black, that you're not getting the white corn flour on the top of your black fondant. You don't want any little spots. You can rub singular spots out, but if you get too much, it actually just makes your work look like it's a real mess. If you find that you're getting your work a bit dirty with corn flour, just knead it back together in a big ball and start again, because you really want to keep that piece of fondant as black and as clean as possible, especially for your Minnie Mouse. Don't roll the fondant for your ears too thin. You want it to be about 2 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch thick so that your ears are going to be stable enough to be able to hold themselves up inside your Minnie Mouse head. Take your circle cutter now, and you just want to cut out from the best and cleanest parts of your fondant 2 of those beautiful nice round circles. Set them aside on a piece of wax paper. Like I said, you want 12 to 24 hours for those to dry so they're completely stiff and firm. Here's those couple that we made earlier. You can see they're really, really firm. They're not going to bend, and they're going to stand up beautifully in our giant cupcake. Take your remaining black fondant now, and you want to roll that out as thin as you can get it, because most of the time kids don't want a ton of fondant on top of their cupcakes. So we're just going to roll it out, get it nice and thin, and you want it to be roughly the size to cover the top of your cupcake. So just pick it up, drape it over, and make sure you think it's going to cover. And then take your pizza cutter and just cut it around so it's a really nice, neat circle. Don't trim off too much of your edges. Gently lay it over the top of your ganache. I love ganache because it doesn't crust like a buttercream will. And then use the palm of your hand to smooth out the tops. While you can see here, I'm sort of pulling out any little pleats. I pull them out and then I smooth them down to stop you from getting any wrinkles. Once your dome is smooth, take your finger and about 1/2 centimetre or 1/4 of an inch down the side of your cupcake case, you want to just push that fondant right into the side of the case to seal in your fondant dome. Take your knife now and you just want to gently just cut into just the fondant, and that's going to cut a little line where you can just peel away that little excess fondant skirt, and you should have a really nice neat line between your smooth fondant dome and your cupcake case. Take some of that white fondant now and you want to roll it out really, really nice and thin, and then you want to take your piping tip or a small circle cutter, and we're just going to cut out some little white polka dots. Now, to stick your polka dots onto the case, it's as simple as using your paintbrush and a little bit of water. A little dab of water on the back, push it on and kind of smooth it down so that it becomes one with the cupcake case. This is probably the most time-consuming part of this tutorial because there's a lot of polka dots on Minnie Mouse's dress. I opted for the pink and white version of Minnie Mouse today, but she's got a red and white version in her dress as well. And of course, you could turn this cupcake into a Mickey Mouse cupcake by leaving off that bow and just adding 2 yellow buttons to the front of a red giant cupcake case. If you're watching this video and you're not already subscribed to the My Cupcake Addiction YouTube channel, head on over and hit the subscribe button. We upload 3 times a week and there are literally hundreds of decorating tutorials to choose from. Now, to put your ears in, you want to just position them by sight. So just hold them up and you want them to be quite far apart on the sides of Minnie's head. Take your smooth knife and you just want to mark in a bit of a guideline because you don't want to stretch that fondant as you shove those ears in. So a bit of a guideline or a bit of an incision where we're going to insert both of Minnie's ears. This is where your melted chocolate comes in. So I'm going to use that melted chocolate as a bit of a glue to give our ears a little bit of extra stability and to hold them in place. They're going to go in, the chocolate's going to be a little bit wet, and then it's going to set nice and firm, and it's just going to give us double support for keeping those ears in that cupcake. So I'm just applying a little bit of the melted chocolate inside that little incision, just using my knife, and you don't want too much here because you don't want it to spill up over the fronts of your ears. And you do have about 10 to 20 seconds once you've put them in just to move them around a little bit if you're not happy. Take your bow now, and this is going to cover up any chocolate that does happen to pop out the tops of those ears, but a little bit more melted chocolate just to act like a glue, and I'm going to put it in the center and also on both of the sides, so everywhere it's going to be touching my Minnie Mouse. Once again, this is just going to act like a glue. It's going to hold it all in place. It's going to be particularly sturdy for transportation. So slide that down, turn it around so that you're making sure it's dead center in the middle of those ears, and that is essentially your giant cupcake ready to go. It is so simple. If you're going to add a little figurine and you are transporting this cake, a little bit of melted chocolate on the bottom of Minnie Mouse's shoes is going to make sure that she stays in place. So that completes our Minnie Mouse giant cupcake tutorial. I love how simple this cupcake is. If you're not the best of decorators, this is a really great Minnie Mouse cake to cut your teeth on. Make sure that you check out those other Minnie and Mickey tutorials that I've got on my channel. You can see our cake here positioned with some of our really simple Minnie Mouse cupcakes and the free printable cupcake liners. And also make sure that you head on over to Charlie's Crafty Kitchen and check out those mini Oreo pops. Your little master chef might want to pop into the kitchen and actually help you make these. They're simple enough for the kids to get into, and they're such a cool accompaniment to this giant cupcake. If you've got any other requests, this Minnie Mouse giant cupcake was made for you guys as requested by you guys. Let me know what else you'd like to see, and I will do my best to make it happen for you. As always, thanks very much for tuning in to My Cupcake Addiction.